Brownies rip off the Band-Aid. And so you and I were somewhat surprised. And then Tyvus said to me, like, why are you surprised? Like, what is it about this? Why would you be surprised this happened? And I dropped I didn't think they were prepping him. And he was like, what do you mean prepping him? He's in the meetings. It's not like Joe this, Joe that. It's not like they're excluding him from the information. And I just kept peppering Tyvus with, yeah, but if you're the starting quarterback that week, aren't you a little more involved in the game plan? And he's like, no, they're all there. And so he talked me off the being surprised factor that you don't need a bye week to make this change. And then I started looking at the schedule, and the Vikes are kind of coming off a mini clunker against the Steelers. But I also, the Vikes have the benefit for already being over there. And it didn't seem as ideal. But then you start going through what Flacco's been, and you ask yourself, what are you waiting for? That's honestly the stability at the beginning of the season I was good with. But the fact that the Browns have 8 giveaways, they're tied for most in the NFL, and Flacco has been at the center of every turnover with 6 picks and 2 lost fumbles. Now, every one may not be his fault. Some of those were
drops,
tapped in the air,
for sure.
or guys that had to lay out for some. So I'm not going to get all caught up in that, but I am going to get caught up in the fact that, hey, what are you waiting on?
Yeah.
If you feel this season is savable with one of these guys, you got to do it.
I'm with you. The team record's 1-4. I mean, Flacco, in the 4 games that he started, he's only gotten beyond 200 passing yards one time, and that's never really the end-all, be-all, but we're all watching the games, and we can all see that just the offense doesn't have a spark with him under center right now. And so they've had some issues up front with their offensive line. There's no denying that, and the combination of that with a quarterback that's 40 years old that has never really been mobile, but especially now because of where he is in age, he really can't run away from anybody. It's just a bad mix of everything. And so he just hasn't been an efficient quarterback, even when he has been given time. He's got the 3rd worst completion percentage in the sport. And so it is now time to hand this thing over to Dillon Gabriel. And I think this is kind of what you wanted if you were a Browns fan coming into this season was, hey, give 1 or 2 of these young guys plenty of runway to see what you have. Because when you get to the finish line of this season, you just need answers. You need answers because you have pretty valuable draft capital going into next year's draft, right? With your own pick and with Jacksonville's pick. And so you just need to know, not, hey, what does he do in the film room? What does he do, in practice when he's on the scout team? What does he do against real units around the NFL in live game action? And so whether this is going to be for the rest of the season or in time, will we see Shadur? Who knows? But these 2 guys needed to do something within this offense and put some stuff out there on tape. That way, when they get to the draft next year, they know exactly what we need to do and whether or not we need to go out and take another swing at a young quarterback.
Yeah, Flacco's done now. You can't go back to him.
No,
even if I gave you the scenario of that Dillon falls on his face, which is probably not going to happen completely, but let's say he did.
Yeah.
Like even in this game, let's say we had a horrible first half.
Got to let him play through it.
I think you have at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're stunting him more mentally if you have a quick hook now.
I agree, AR. And I think you want to provide a young guy with confidence in knowing, like, you're going to make mistakes, and I'm not going to pull you out of the game. And I think that can just ease the nerves a little bit, too, because he's going to make mistakes, and he's going to see some pretty good defenses coming at him in the next couple of weeks. And that Pittsburgh defense in a rivalry game, that'll be tough on the road. And so for Dillon, it's just the operation like we talk about with Julian saying. How clean can you make it as a young guy and not hurting your team and moving the chains, too, and keeping that defense fresh, right? Because that's another thing, like with Flacco out there, just the offense just wasn't a threat at all. And so the defense is just playing so many snaps. You want to give those guys a blow, too. And so I think with Stefanski, look, this is a 2-time coach of the year. This guy knows, I think, what he's doing on offense. And I think with a guy like Dillon Gabriel, we'll see him move the pocket a little bit, get him out in space because he's not the tallest guy. So you want to stay away from, I think, consistently staying in one spot. And Dillon, to his credit, he's played a lot of college football. And we've seen guys come into the NFL that have checked that box and not looked overwhelmed completely like some other rookies have done in the NFL. And so I'll give him that, is that because of all his time at the collegiate level, maybe he can figure this thing out sooner rather than later.
I've gone through a little bit of a roller coaster this morning being a Viking fan. At first I thought, fantastic. Love the change. I'd rather face a rookie, the only rookie who's ever made his debut in an international game. Like, I'm like, fine, done.
That's Gabriel now.
That's
He's the
Gabriel.
only, okay, I got you.
And I was like, okay, that's perfect. That Vikings, defense looked bad against Metcalf. Browns don't have a Metcalf. And I was like, okay, that's fine. This is good. And then the more I thought about it, Flores probably could have just teed off on Flacco. Like, knowing he's going to be in one.
He ain't going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Now, I think it may be harder to confuse Flacco. And I think Gabriel, maybe they can throw some things at him that he certainly hasn't seen. But he's a smaller quarterback. And so, but the experience in college should be there a little bit. He's going to be nervous.
Yep.
And I've kind of come back to, as a Viking fan, would I rather face Flacco or Gabriel in this game? And to me, it probably would have been Flacco now that I think about it.
You would have rather seen Flacco.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Because of the unknown with Gabriel. There's an unknown part of it for me with his mobility.
Okay.
But I still think it probably turns out to be a little bit of a wash where you give up in experience.
Yeah.
You gain in nerves for a rookie.
Right. So look, they spent a third-round pick on this guy. So that's pretty valuable draft capital in my opinion, and now it's time to go. So he's been able to see how Flacco goes about his business on game day, his preparation throughout the week, 4 games, and now he's got to show that he can be the leader. What's some nasty work going on at the quarterback position in the AFC North this weekend, just because of injuries. I mean, the scheduled starters in the North this week is Aaron Rodgers, Cooper Rush, Jake Browning, and Dillon Gabriel. Ooh-wee.
By the way, real fast, here are the numbers on Flacco. First of all, we know the Browns haven't scored more than 17 this season. Out of 33 qualifying quarterbacks, Flacco is last in passer rating, completion rate, and yards per attempt. Yeah. So that's 60 passer rating, 58% completion, yards per attempt 5.1, and he's 31st in expected points added per play. His 6 picks are second most by a quarterback, and only the Titans have scored fewer points than the Browns this season.
You said yards per attempt is 5.1.
That's what I have here.
Yeah, that is just, man, like as a defense, we're not threatened at all.
You know what's funny about the Browns? Maybe there's a lot, but is that when they drafted Shadur, he became that guy who was always going to be talked about even if he wasn't the story. And he's not the story now. It's Dillon Gabriel. And yet the narrative becomes, why not Shadur? Why isn't Shadur the QB2 now? Like, what is going on? And that's why when you asked Schefter that, he professionally said that was Rex's take. Mm-hmm. That he's not in the front of the meetings, or he's not grabbing this starting job by the you-know-what and going to get it. And it's a weird thing. And then he was asked, well, you know what, I want to look at the video and listen to it first, because I think that, I don't know whether it's fair or not, because I don't know whether this is very normal way to respond or whether this is weird behavior or the kid just can't, win for losing. I don't know, but we'll play it at 1:00. That way we can hear it first and see if there's anything abnormal about it. It's being packaged up with like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know whether that's against the media or it's on him. I don't know. Okay. Maybe he is being asked some unfair questions right now. I don't know.
Be interesting to hear. He's no doubt a needle mover. Like that's what he is. And for outlets and national TV shows that are going to spin this into the Shadur things, I know why they're doing it, because he gets eyeballs and ears. And so like he's just he's a polarizing figure.
And
what?
Do you know who my dad is?
Oh, my! I don't have it ready.
That's why he's a needle.
I said eyes and ears. What else am I forgetting?
Yeah, me too.
I thought the kid was ready to rock.
He's got so many drops over there, though. That could be hard to find in the blink of an eye.
You know who my dad is?
We
do. Yeah.
And the thing, too, with
the needle mover.
With Zeta, too, when we transitioned over, it's like some of the drops are like really high and some are low, and so I never really know where to shoot it. So
let me ask you,
crank this one up just a little bit.
You know who my dad is?
Yeah, I think you just had another drop there that you didn't realize. What you said.
We just transitioned.
No, yeah, there was something there that you can go back and listen to.
Yes.
That you may turn into a drop. The other thing is I was going to ask you is...
I was just testing the level on that one to see where...
Yes, test the levels on the air.
Thank you. Cam Wars provided you a few drops this year.
Yeah, hey, and the classic.
Stefanski.
I think Ice called him Stefanski at one point in the show.
Forgot the K?
Yeah, I think there was the K drop. He's looking very Stefanski today.
Stefanski?
That's not bad.
When Kevin Stefanski wears a suit, he looks Stefanski.
There we go. I was on to something. See?